Hello. Hi, everyone. Appreciate you being here with me on a Friday afternoon. Hope everyone's, feeling caffeinated, ready for the last few hours of ClioCon 2025. Welcome to our talk. It's the Clio Draft Power Hour. This is our intermediate session here. Like I said, my name is Brendan Califf, and really excited to get started. First of all, I just want to shout out our Unicorn, Visionary, and Innovator sponsors. They help put on ClioCon, and I'll get into myself in a little bit, but I've personally worked with a lot of these companies, and I can tell you, they do amazing things like system and software-wise, but they're even better people to work with. So, they should be around in across our exhibit halls. So, to keep a lookout for them. Who am I? I've worked at Clio for over 7.5 years. I've helped countless firms evaluate Clio. I am a solution engineer manager, so think of that as a sort of pre-sales technical product expert that helps firms look at Clio, right, determining how Clio can work to fit their unique sort of workflows and business needs, right? So customizing workflows, recommending and implementing integrations, bringing in other extra sort of additional consulting partners, or honestly, sometimes just connecting them with our internal product teams. Okay, so today in our intermediate session, we're going to be doing a few different things. This is obviously going to be focusing on Clio Draft. So what we're touching on, right, we're going to talk a little bit of the basics, document templates, moving into sets. We're going to touch on the AI functionality within Draft, and then do a bit of a session on the magic of questionnaires. I thought it would be only right, given this is what I do for a living, that I would show you guys a bit of a live demo. They said, don't do it. Don't worry. I've done it a few times, so I'm looking forward to it. And then we'll get to any questions you guys have on any of the content or anything draft related as well. Okay. Also wanted to say as well, this is like the intermediate session. So this is kind of perfect for people who are looking to maximize their draft usage. We do have as well the expert session. I think it's in room 304. It's either that way or that way, which is happening right now. But I will say as well, all these are being recorded. So the expert session, should you guys get a lot of value out of this, will be available coming out of ClioCon as well, right? If you want to continue investing in Clio Draft. So what does the goal of the session ultimately look like, right? I mean, at the end of today, what I want to get out from you and what I hope you all are able to learn is how you can leverage Clio Draft and obviously Clio Manage as well to generate a set of documents like this, right, without really ever sitting down and typing in key customer data, right, and how you're leveraging your clients to do it, but also really making it a very streamlined process. So ideally, everything in yellow, you're having autofill, and we're going to touch on how Clio Draft can help that. Don't just take my word for it. This function has been, become vastly ingrained in a lot of firms day to day. Catherine Price and Price Mediation, they're sending, 3 to 4 questionnaires a day, super easy. And you can clearly tell it's like how they are now collecting this key client information. It's kind of changed how they do things. So we're going to be spending some time on that. Okay. So show of hands quickly, like who here uses Clio Draft and document templates today? Okay, so that's about 50% of you. So I think what's great is I'm hoping that for those of you that raise your hand, I'm able to give you guys some more insight into, okay, what could I be doing or how could I be optimizing? And for those of you that don't, this is hopefully going to be an informative session on, what the potential that exists within the Clio platform, specifically with Draft. So for those of you that raised your hand, this is going to be somewhat redundant, taking you back to elementary school here. But the idea is starting with smart templates. So what are templates, right? They are your proprietary firm documents that have had fields sort of directly inserted in them. So you can take data right out of your contact and matter library, right, sitting right within Clio. And with a simple click, you're merging that information into documents. Mail merge has existed for a long time, so a lot of you should be sort of familiar with this. We're going to touch on some more advanced techniques in a second, but Clio Draft today generates over 100,000 legal documents every single day. We've seen that firms that really invest in this and take the time to set it up save about 80% of their time in terms of drafting. So again, for those of you that aren't necessarily billing by the hour, it's all about maximizing efficiency, and Draft is definitely the way to sort of do that. So once you get the hang of the sort of template creation, and for those of you that have done the basic mail merge or copied and pasted codes into documents, you know what I'm talking about. You probably get sick and tired of the tediousness of that. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you today that not many people know exists is the bulk insert option. So this lives right within the Word add-in of Clio Draft, right? So you would open up any document that you would be wishing to turn into a template, and you would essentially highlight, say, the client's full name or today's date or the state. And you would then select replace all and insert all, and it will take the exact same instance, say where you have the state Massachusetts, all the way down your document, and essentially replace it with that single field. So what you've done is, you're able to catch things in a really long document, right? So if you have a 20-page document or so, right, you're not scanning through every paragraph. You know that you're replacing the words or the state or the name. And it can also be really finicky. We have a lot of situations where you need to add the plural, the S at the end of words, right? So being able to do that in one fell swoop is very, very time saving. The next is field types. Honestly, kind of underutilized. Some of it seems really obvious, but when we touch on questionnaires in a second, you're going to see why this makes an impact for your client. So a lot of times people are just doing sort of called the bare minimum, and they're just putting everything as a text field, right? It works. It'll get the job done. But when you start to begin to automate the collection of data from your clients, how that data is then input into your documents, they may spell the date out, right? The actual spelling of Tuesday versus the date in a specific format. So you're able to customize. I chose date as an example, but think of things like multiple choice fields or drop downs, right? And I want to really help guide my client in inputting this information. It all starts with field types. So again, there's multiple choice, single line text, date, drop downs, so on and so on. Few other things. We talked about the integrity, but reusability, right? So if you have the date field for date of birth, it's so much easier to reuse in any of your templates. I'll do another more advanced example of the field type option. So possessive pronouns is another really example. It's a very finicky thing to change on the document, his versus her versus they. So the field type itself would be a multiple choice option, right? Or I guess a pick list of 3 options, his, her, or they. Again, you could have more than that. That will then be able to replace the his, her, they across the entire document or sets of documents, right? We don't have to always do this in one. We'll show that within the setting feature. But that would be, the field type itself would be the option to select multiple. The field name would be possessive pronoun in that example. Again, we're going to show some things with building these documents, but for document sets, think of it as the power of when you're combining multiple things into one. So, right? So there's exponential value or exponential efficiency. So what document sets are going to allow you to do? For those of you that haven't built a set yet, I highly implore it. think of, say, a commonly drafted set of work product that you would continuously draft together, right? It's the same client information, right? And you're drafting it essentially all with a single click. So from your client's end, right, you might be asking them a single questionnaire. On your end, you're producing 5, 6, 7, 8 documents, right? That's the value of setting it. And when I say setting it, I mean like document setting it. And so when we go into building a questionnaire, which we'll show in a second, it's essentially saying, hey, this is the possessive pronoun across all 9 documents, right? And so that's what I mean by the exponential efficiency, is if you start setting these documents together, you're generating more documents essentially for the same sort of, same amount of work. Super easy when in draft. So we work with obviously like Word templates, which we'll show. We work with court forms as well. It's as simple as saying like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm gonna basically create add set, which is right there. Laser pointer again, right there. And merge them all together. And in the background, we're combining like, okay, the client name's the same, right? The date of birth is the same. And that's gonna be now standardized. I asked that once for multiple different documents. The next thing as well, e-sign, in my sort of, in our exploratory around draft and what we wanted to cover, didn't feel like this was talked about or used enough. When we go to generating the package, you'll see as well, everything is fully built in right at the end. Once your documents are finally drafted and you finish editing, we fully support e-sign and the ability to capture those digital signatures. Now, what I want to cover though is some of the new stuff. So for those of you that have been draft users, I wanted to touch on honestly a lot of stuff that might have come out in the last few months that you maybe didn't even realize. And for those of you, again, that don't have draft, you'd be able to see that we made a bunch of improvements over 2025 and a bit of 2024. First, before we used to create a set, you would save it back into your document management system over in Clio Manage, right? It'd be sitting inside the matter, and you'd say, perfect, let's e-sign this. And it, for some reason, wasn't compliant with our built-in e-signature. That has now changed. So any sets or any documents that you're generating with draft, fully compliant from the managed side. So you don't have to use, it's really whenever you want to use that e-signature product, it's fully capable across the entire lifecycle of the document. When you're drafting it, when you just finish, when you save it back in, and when you want to send it via the portal. Another thing that was, again, kind of a little weird was they were almost locked inside your matter. So no longer, right? You can now specify them to go and be saved into a specific folder. You can rename the title before sharing externally, edit like metadata, upload date, receive date, and things like that inside the system. So again, just giving you more like flexibility. And probably the more exciting one is you can take a set and if anything has changed, maybe, you know, you didn't get it, you wanted to change the entire date, you can just do a retriggering. So basically you can go straight back to the document generation phase and make one edit, say today's date, right? Say the client forgot their, misspelled their name, God forbid. You want to make that one change. You'd be able to do that without starting all over from scratch. The data is already there. You just want to make one small tweak. Now you're able to do that. You're able to jump right into regenerating with that data. So again, a lot of sort of quality of life improvements that we have made. And then as well, we're going to touch on some of the new AI stuff as well. For the draft users in the room, we have our customer success. If you want to learn more, our draft product lab, Noah, who's in the back, and myself are in the level up section. So if you want to come learn more about the new draft stuff, we're happy to show it. So switch gears a bit. In our more recently, if anyone saw Joshua Lennon's session, which I think was earlier today, around our 2025 legal trends report, we took a look at how different types of law firms are adopting AI. And for a lot of things, and one of our highest responses were document automation tools. So we find that of firms that were considered to be growing firms, so that's both in revenue / headcount, there's multiple different metrics there, 28% of them were using document automation software. We also found that it's more common, say, in enterprise and larger firms, right? And honestly, just from speaking to, I feel like a lot of you yesterday and today, I think a lot of the reason why, there's such a disparity is like in time to invest. Like, how do I actually get my templates built? It's great in practice, in theory, but in practice, getting these built can be a little time consuming, and I might not have the time to go in and really set everything up. Foreshadowing. AI and Clio Draft. So we've made a few big launches within our Clio Draft product to help with entering and creating your templates. So I know I just told you like how to do a template and how to like bulk insert and how to use field types. And now I'm about to tell you that none of that mattered because you're just going to have AI do it for you. But I think it was important because you want to know how the sausage is made. But the first thing that we are launching, which is available to anyone who's looking at Draft, for all of you existing customers, I'm going to throw a QR code up in a second for early access, is the ability to change and have the AI scan any existing document or any existing template that you have sitting in Clio right now and turn that into a Clio Draft template. So you would go to Clio Draft. There would be a little button, if you've seen the Clio Manage AI gem, there'd be a little button there that says, hey, convert your templates. It'd take you to this screen. You would then be prompted to select any document. You could upload one as well, but anything sitting in your matters or actual templates. And then you would hit on Create Template. What it's going to do, it's going to scan through all of your documents, and just like you were doing manually before, it's looking at first name, last name, today's date, state, and turning those into the fields automatically. So it's going to process. It's also going to create, there's a little thing there, the cards. Those are essentially like groupings of information. So a card might be petitioner, a card might be a court, a card might just be matter data, right? And you want it all grouped together. So what it's doing is it's automatically grouping together sort of like information or the same, or data from the same person. Once it's done, there's still a little bit of work we got to do. It's going to prompt you to open this up in Word, and you're going to basically be taken to the pre-populated document. So as you can see, everything in yellow, even though I uploaded a finished agreement, has now been changed, and it's included multiple different birth dates and states and all those things. And from there, again, I might change some stuff. The bulk insert, all those functionalities we talked about still work, right? And the other thing that I wanted to note, going back to our field types example, is you may be tweaking some of the field types. So right now, it will generate it all into like a text field, which is why I wanted to talk about the field types, because you would then say, okay, for date of birth, I'm going to change that to a date type field. And this is how I want it formatted every time. Once you're done, you hit save. It's a template. It's ready to use. So again, this is hopefully taking a lot of the first steps away and making it so like, hey, I've got something I can work with like within 2 minutes, and not having to go through and comb through documents and say, hey, I got to do, replace first names. Like, it seems redundant, and hopefully that is saving a ton of time. Yes, question.
Did you say the AI is always going to do a text field?
Correct. For right now, it will create just the text fields. You can then, once you do it, go back here. So if you say those are full names. But let's say that was like the child to date of birth or something. You would click on that right here. It would be 3 dots once you hovered your mouse. You would hit edit, and then you would go and change it from short text to date. And then say output format is 09/18/25 or something. Yes, this gentleman back there.
Are there efforts, I can be loud enough, are there efforts to have a PDF version to not just have a Word document come in?
Yes. For the converter?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that is roadmap. Right now, it's a good call. It's Word templates only. But yeah, eventually PDF.
Perfect.
Question, or are you just rubbing your eye? Okay.
For conditions, well,
Yes.
for conditions, it doesn't assist with that yet.
Correct. Yes. Another good call out. So for ifs, right? If you want it to only show certain clauses or sections of the document based off of a field either you or your client are inputting, it would not do that. So yeah, you'd be inserting those conditions. That is covered in the expert session though too. So yes, back there.
So I have a question. If your form now it's not a template per se, right? And it basically comes out, yada, 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 the children, and then you see a blank space, born on, and a blank space. Is the AI going to be able to,
Insert it in between.
figure that out?
It's a good
If
question.
they have
I
three children, and then there's a blank space or a caret born on.
Yeah. It's a good question. To be totally honest, I'm not 100% sure on if it's reading in between the lines, so to speak. I would recommend uploading a finalized document and, it'll replace the actual date then. It'll be looking for that.
In other words, if I put in one that was already done for, I don't know, Herman Munster,
Yeah.
then it would fill it in with, Jane Smith.
Exactly. Yeah. Or the field to insert the data with Jane Smith. Yeah. Yeah. My bad. Which one? That one?
I'm noticing that the capitalization is different in the variables. Does that then translate into how it's capitalized in the final result? So in other words, if it's all caps, will it come out in all caps in the output? And if it's initial caps, will it be set up that way in the output, and so on?
That's a good question. No, when you were doing it, they weren't capitalized, right? Correct. Yeah. It's good. We can ask. I don't believe so. It should be looking at the text that is actually entered. But it's a good question. We can follow up on that. Okay. Okay. We've got one more. We're going to show this as well. So this one was actually sort of released on Tuesday, so I don't have slides for it, but I'm going to talk you through it and then I'm going to demo it. So you'll kind of get to see it. So in addition to our template builder, right, which is take existing doc, take existing template, we also have launched, again, a new AI feature for our questionnaires. So we're going to touch on, again, the value of questionnaires and how it will work and what you can do with your clients here. But what the questionnaire AI functionality is going to do is the minute you've done all of your templating and now you've merged all those into sets. Now at this point you say, okay, I want my client to go fill in A, B, C, D, all these different data points, right? All you will do, and we'll show this in a second, will be I'm going to hit create a questionnaire. I'm going to click the set that I want. From that point, the AI sort of assistant within Draft is going to do a few things. Number one, it's going to remove any non-client questions. They don't know the court docket number. They don't know maybe the courthouse address, right? Or I'll just fill that in because I know it. So it's removing anything that is not saying is pertinent to the end client. And number two, it's creating like a natural client-friendly language for all of your questions. So you, in the background, your field name might be state full, right? In all caps. What it will change it to is what state do you reside in, right? And that's doing it automatically for every single question in your questionnaire. So you don't have to essentially go in and tweak everything. It's renaming it so that your clients are a lot more, or it makes a lot more sense in natural language as they're reading it. The second thing, which is set to launch, again, I think in November or at least later this year, is the automated sort of communication of questionnaires and automated follow-ups. So the minute you create a questionnaire, again, I feel like I'm teasing it a lot. I will be showing it in a sec. Once you send that out, you'll be able to automate the actual messaging through Clio Manage to your clients, as well as any of those annoying follow-ups to make sure that it's done in a timely manner. And the final one, which I don't believe I have a direct date, will be really leveraging the Vincent or the Clio library database to assist with document generation. And this is much more sort of future facing, which is going to allow you to use your templates and use sort of relevant filings, say within your jurisdiction, and essentially use the power of Vincent to help with the document drafting. So that part, again, little teaser there, but that's again where we are working towards. Yeah, gentleman in the back.
Yeah, I currently use Grow and the forms to collect customer information on certain things. How are the forms different than the questionnaires, and will they talk?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. Not a planted question there, but it is a good question, because it's like, well, especially too, like, what does my client see? Like, like at the end of the day, they're like, it's form after form. So the way I would envision it is a Clio intake form should be everything, sort of the bare minimum of what is needed to intake that client. Maybe case facts, sort of phone number, email, basic address, and things like that. But at the end of the day, when you're requesting that intake form or them to fill out that intake form on Clio Grow, they likely haven't signed at that point, right? And so it's all about speed to lead at that point, and you want to minimize the sort of time and the effort that client needs to go through to become your client and sign that agreement letter. The questionnaires going to be a lot more work product related in terms of actually the documents you're producing, and probably going to be a little bit more like detailed and granular, right? So you don't want to offer like, here's a 200 page or 200 question intake form, right? When can we get started? It might be 10 questions, and hey, the back end is going to contain a lot more of the data.
When Clio Work goes live, will it draw? Will it be pulling data that's collected in draft as well as the doc? Unless, thinking that we're going to be saving these documents into Manage, right?
Yep.
Will Clio Grow then be pulling that data anyway?
Yeah. So your question is, would Clio Work understand some of the work product that has been generated, or?
The question that we're all asking is, when is draft going to talk back to Manage like Grow talks to Manage?
Right. Similar question.
Right. And so my question is kind of a end around is, by virtue of Work extrapolating data from the documents in Manage,
Yep.
is Work going to get the information that way?
From draft directly, or you're saying roundabout through Manage?
From the documents that we've created in draft and saved in Manage.
It would know the document, at least again, as of like today, it would know the documents, but not necessarily, because the fields aren't repopulating back in. It wouldn't have the data within the fields. Although Clio Work does look at custom fields, that is. It would not, to the earlier question, it wouldn't be like re-entering any of that sort of data into those fields at this point. No. Oh, skipped over this. Okay. For any of you draft users, these AI features, I'm glad to say, are fully a part of the draft subscription. So there is no add-on associated with this. So for any of the draft users currently, this QR code, you'll have to fill a little form, and that you'll be added to the early access, which will be rolling out to everyone over the next couple months. For anyone buying draft new, it's already in there. Okay, questionnaires. I feel like I've teased it a lot. But we can sort of jump right into it, and we can go through a live demo, and love your questions. So keep them coming. So again, what are questionnaires, right? Easy way to turn sets into fillable client forms. where your clients can fill them out on their time, on their phone, from their desk, from their couch. It's providing sort of a modern client experience, right? Something that people are coming to expect. And I kind of use the anecdote of like how Clio Payments has sort of made it much more seamless and easier for the business side of your law in terms of collections. I think questionnaires with Draft are doing the same sort of for the practice and making it a lot more easy and efficient, and still providing a unique and powerful customer experience, or client experience, I should say. So I will switch this over to my screen here. Cool. Okay. So this is the interface of Clio Draft. My mouse is working. Perfect. So from here, right, I'll give you guys like a very quick sort of what are you looking at for those of you that don't use Draft. When you come in, you would have a library. We talked about setting these documents, right? So I'm going to have all of my Word templates, all the forms I routinely use, grouped into these folders that you see here, right? So again, there could be any number of forms and Word documents in here. If we are going to our questionnaires, how that process works is you would navigate to this questionnaire section. And if you're doing this for the first time, this would be blank. I've done it a few times in preparation of this, don't worry. But what I would do is I would hit questionnaire template. So I'm going to do an estate planning example today. And what it's going to do is it's going to ask me, okay, which sets of documents do I want to add? So I'm gonna do 3 here: a living trust, power of attorney, and a pour-over will together. And I'll hit build questionnaire. So once I hit build questionnaire, what is it doing? It is scanning through every document and going, okay, what is sort of my client name, grouping them into specific sections of the form, which we're going to go through. It is removing that sort of those non-client facing questions. And it is also renaming your field types so that they are more natural and client friendly. So when that is done, this is the screen that you would see. So the first thing that you might do, right, is you might produce a intro section. This would be right here, and you can add any sort of customization. I honestly think that ChatGPT is really good for this stuff, but so you can have anything that's like very custom to this type of form. Again, you would add your logo, in this case, ClioCon Legal here. And this is what, when you send your client, this is exactly what they are going to see. This is sort of their landing page. So next, what you will do is you would scan through all of these different pages. So everything here, all these like groupings, they are going to be essentially like a page in which they would fill out. Now, again, Clio Draft is doing a lot of this for you. But the few things, I wanted to talk through a few things on like how to frame what am I looking at and how am I going and finishing this and building this. So the first would be what is like entirely necessary. So this is essentially, while this is technically like a client-facing question, which is why the AI added it in, if you already have this information, again, what is like from a client experience, like do they really want to keep entering their name? Now, again, if they will already have their name populated in your Matter system and in Clio Draft and Clio Manage, so this will show their name like right away, right? So if they wanted to add, say, their middle name or something like that, they could do so. Or again, if it's not fully relevant, in my mind, I'm deleting it. I'm getting rid of it, right? Like I want something that is very sort of logical and smooth to fill out for my client to fill out, right? And so again, adding sort of all these unnecessary clicks, all you're doing is increasing your sort of bounce rate, which is essentially them hitting exit and pulling open their phone and going on Instagram. What you're looking at here, this would be, again, the first section that the Draft AI has built for me. And I will do a few things here as an example. So what I like is how it's entered a few different, they're called hints in Clio Draft. So again, for our specific gift beneficiary, right? Like it's helping sort of prompt them on what they should be entering and what you need out of this field for them. And what I also like to do is enter, again, hints within the specific section, right? So you can do this where you can say like, this is, again, someone who's receiving a specific and high value item, and you can save that in there. And again, that's sort of helping frame, okay, who is this person to me, and what do I need to input into this? Next thing. So the next thing I would be looking at would be in addition to all of the descriptions with this, I would also be looking at I'll call it like a logical flow or a logical grouping of information. Think starting easy, getting to the hard and nitty gritty stuff, maybe closer to the end, right? You don't want to frustrate them with like very important details, so build up to that. And also group like information together so they can sort of in their mind do a natural flow. So unfortunately with the AI as it is today, it doesn't really think of that yet. So it might say, who's the grantor? And then it's kind of like, who's the trustee? And it's kind of sort of bouncing around, right? What I would be doing is pulling out, okay, what are like the sort of commonly or the common threads between these cards, right? So in this case, the principal and the grantor might be the same thing. So I'm going to group them together. I'm going to go here. And again, in this estate plan, they might be the same person, and so I don't need both cards. So I'm going to remove them. I'm going to remove one of them. I'll show this as well because we were talking about is the possessive pronouns. So again, this is how you are creating a quite easy selection for them to make sure that when they go and fill out this form, they know clearly what is being entered. And that again is populating throughout every single, possessive article within, in this case, 3 documents, right? Okay. Now, the other thing in terms of best practice and speaking with some of our like onboarding teams and what they like to do, 2 more things, I should say. So this one I had built in to my document. And to be, when speaking with some of our onboarding teams, it kind of depends on, I guess, what you expect your client to do. Some of them were like, when we set this up for like for attorneys and firms, they're choosing to do this, say, over Zoom or over like an actual meeting. So this can be when you're populating your document finally, and we're going to show what that's like when the client has finished entering this. This could be something that you are including, right? And you're selecting. So again, it's looking at every sort of option. A lot of it you can do when you are drafting and not necessarily put the onus on your client. So again, sort of treat it with a sort of critical eye of like, do I want my client filling this out, or is this better off being me? And the last piece, if I scroll down here, is essentially adding, making sure that you're adding any sort of additional large form text boxes. They may be blank, but a lot of times the questionnaire is not going to capture everything like 100% accurately in a way. And so they may have specific things they want to add and include, and make sure that you're providing them that option. Again, you might not even be merging into that document. That's not like a merge field in the document, but that's at least like an information section that you have. Okay. So we get through this, right? We've refined it. You can always preview it. And I'll take you to one as well that we've sent. But you'd be able to navigate through the questionnaire on behalf of your client. And what I would also recommend, like highly, is once you get this preview set up, is like share this. Other members of the firm, like a spouse, whoever might be filling this out, get their honest feedback. Where did they get stuck, right? Where do they sort of like lose interest? All of that's going to help with like the success rate of this. And so again, if it felt redundant, right? What felt redundant? How can I remove that? And how can I remove any barriers to entry or barriers of data entry, as I like to say? Okay. So popping back here. Once this is done, right, what I would do is I would hit share. I would select a matter, give it a title, and what it's going to give me is a unique link that I would then be able to send to my client. So in this case, I went into my Clio for Clients portal, right, and I actually used our help me write option, and I just was basically like, write me something, here's the link, ask them to fill out this questionnaire in a friendly tone. It sort of drafted that for me. You can see, thank you for accessing the portal, stuff like that. Here's the URL. And I believe I've completed this one. Yeah, so this is what they see when they end. Now, when they go through, and we saw what it looked like from their end, when we go through and they finish, it is going to show up in your questionnaire section back over in draft, right? And it's going to be in the tab, the live questionnaires tab. So anything in yellow is what you'd be looking for. So anything red means they haven't even opened it. In progress, in gray means they're still working on it. If they're in progress as well, you can actually view it and sort of live check their work and see what they've entered. Notice you can't hit like save yet because they haven't finished, but you actually are able to see sort of their progress and how they're making from your end. So again, if they're calling to ask questions, you can see from your side. Once they finish, you're going to get the ready for review option right here. We'll pop in, right? And so now this is all editable by you. So again, you will have sort of control over what finally goes into the document, but you're able to scan through everything that they would have entered. And once you are fully confident in, okay, yep, this is exactly what's going in, you would hit save responses to the matter. What that is doing is that's essentially updating all this information, right? If, say, you had the wrong information, say they'd given you the wrong street address or something, now they give you the right one, this would then overwrite that within your system. So once this is done saving, it's gonna, in the bottom right corner, give us the draft new documents, and we're gonna go into the drafting of all these 3 documents. Yes, question?
Client portal, so you can remind them to fill it, to complete.
So the AI function of that will have the automated reminders around the questionnaires. Yes. Sorry, Ariel, you're running back and forth.
If we've already got some of that information, can we pre-fill it?
It's already pre-filled. So like first name, for example, is like the easy stuff. If anything you take in your intake form, say, right, that goes into manage, that goes now into the correct fields within draft. When they go to open that questionnaire, their address is already there. Their phone number is already there. If you're saying hey, like maybe go back to those like clauses that you wanted to include or omit, are you saying like can I pre-select some options or?
So a use case I'm thinking of is for probate, the inventory. If I'm sending this to the client and they've already sent me information,
Sure.
what I would want to do is say, here's what we've already got. Go through, confirm, tell us if we missed something. But now when they're looking, they're saying, I don't have to give you the same thing over again.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
So we do have the ability to enter information before we send it over or no?
Yeah, like my recommendation there, I'm gonna hit draft while we're doing that. My recommendation there is like, especially if those are fields that exist, say within like manage right now, is you would be putting them into manage. That's gonna populate that sort of field. So the asset inventory, I don't know if you have like asset inventory 1, asset inventory 2, something like that. If you're inputting that information and say the value of that asset, that will then show up in the field name of like what is your sort of asset information. So if you're putting them into fields or custom fields in manage first, then going through that, they will flow through and be already populated when they go to the questionnaire. Yes.
So I just want to clarify. So it will pull in their data into the questionnaire, but they will still have the option to update because when clients frequently misspell something in an address,
Yep.
they will have the chance to fix it and then
Correct.
it will override.
Overwrite.
Okay.
Yes, correct. Yep. No, it's a good call out. Yes. So until we had that sort of save back in, which was sort of the earlier comment, until it's saving back in, it would not overwrite in manage. Correct.
But in one of the previous slides, it had a button for you to save to manage. Where does it save to manage? And if it's overwritten, is it overwritten where the first save to manage was inserted?
So any save to manage, which you've got like right here, that's like documents. Those are either Word or PDF, whatever you're producing. The save, it was saved to the matter.
It will not save its actual responses to the questionnaire. It simply populates the document.
Correct. In the back end, so to speak, it would save it to the database of that matter in draft only. So it's, yeah.
Can you see that database then? If not, I've got a serious problem because if a client comes back and says, that's not what I said, I need to be able to show that, in fact, that is their response. That was their initial response.
Yeah.
I realize these are unexecuted documents and they're responsible, but if they provide me with information, I need to be able to see that source document.
Yep. So again, if you're talking from the questionnaire, what did they put in?
Right.
If you go to the matter section here, pick that matter for the questionnaire that you sent. This will have all the info that was added. This is all the stuff they would have input or selected.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
but I again to the earlier point, it's not saving back into manage and say updating a specific text field or anything like that right now. Yeah.
On questionnaires, from the completed questionnaire, how does it get into your document? So for instance, I'm in family law, we use court
Form.
court forms
Yep.
quite often. And I can see us using these for our disclosure forms, our petition forms. So if I'm sending a set of disclosure questionnaires to our client, they fill that out, how does it populate a court form from those responses?
Yep, absolutely. I'm gonna hit back here. Do you use Clio Draft today as well, or?
We use the Laya Clio Draft.
Okay.
We're updating while we're here.
Okay,
But-
awesome.
Yes.
Well, this then should look familiar, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, It almost looks like two of the exact same screen, but it is flipping from, these are the results of the questionnaire. This is everything your client just entered. I hit save, then I hit that draft button, which was on the previous screen. See if I can, I'm gonna rip back here, live. So this is the one that we did earlier. See, it's now saved, but I can hit view. So what we had before I hit save, there was a button right here that said save responses to the matter, right? Once I clicked that, this went from gray to blue, and then you're going through your normal drafting set, or sort of drafting flow, I should say, that you should be accustomed to in the Lawya, where you've got the sort of, I call this like the populate page, and then your document. You're generating the documents from there. So it looks almost the same. You just got to click through it and then you're done. Lawyers love extra clicks, I'm sure. Yeah.
I just have a quick question about the Word templates and the sets. So as a person who actually generates the documents for the lawyers, if they go in and change the template in Word, say the law's changed or they find a mistake, does it change in the sets, or now do I have two different versions?
If you've changed the template that's a part of the set, it will change in the set. Yes.
So if you change the Word version, does it carry over to the same document that's in the set?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes. So as long as you're like, it's the same underlying document. If you change that underlying document, that document could be in 7 sets. Yeah, as long as it's reading, yeah. Yep. Perfect.
Hi. Can you download the questionnaire and then upload it into Clio Manage?
The finished product, you mean?
Because if everybody has Clio Draft
Yep.
in the law firm, but somebody needs access to the question.
So they would want to see like the final results.
Yeah.
Let's find out. I don't believe so. I can check. I don't believe so.
Hi, I'm just wondering if you have any advice for us when we're creating templates. I'm on this side.
Sorry.
To make them more friendly for the AI to read. So I think I saw there may have been square brackets, and different document automation tools have their own way of being readable. Any tips for helping us set up documents to help the AI make the correct question for us?
Yeah, I think, so when you say the question, you mean that client-friendly language in the actual questionnaire, or taking a Word doc Word doc right now and having it insert all the fields?
Well, I guess both, but the questionnaire is what I was thinking about, is since it's creating questions for us.
Yep.
Is there anything we can do to help it create the correct question?
Yeah, there's 2 things. One is really obvious, but it's like sort of an explicit field name, right? Date of birth is pretty obvious. We'll know how to then change that into natural language, right? So the more sort of specific you are. The second would be the groupings of what you see here is like the principal, the gift beneficiary, and stuff like that. So making sure you have really, I should say, how should I say this? Sort of specific cards to what the purpose of all that information for, or who it's for. That will help phrase the question as well. So it's looking at the card which I created, which has a grouping of all these fields, and then it's looking at, say, stateful. So in my example, stateful maybe could have done a better job. But again, that's what it's looking at when it's helping generate your questions, those things. Okay, I want to be mindful of time here. So again, we're in the Level Up Lab. Feel free to come by after. Could I go back to, I got a few more slides before I'll let you all get out of here. So again, we went through an estate plan document set today. Thank you for all the questions, but I think you all are sort of in your mind going, okay, how would this apply? I was trying to decide which scenario to go through. I was going, okay, is this a divorce petition? Maybe it's like a real estate closing packet that I want information on for their new or old, selling property. And then for anyone in the immigration field, those are insanely data intensive. So you can imagine the amount of fields that you're able to automate and put and request information for. The other thing as well that in speaking with some of our setup teams, something that they were mentioning is a lot of times the information, especially in some of these scenarios that you're collecting, is quite personal. And providing them sort of that safe space, like maybe their safe space is their couch, to be able to enter that information versus say doing that over the phone or even in the office. Sometimes they kind of prefer that privacy, and I thought that was a unique way of looking at how I'm collecting this information. So I wanted to kind of summarize and also provide some steps that I think are a summarization of our talk here. Stuff you can take back into the office with you on Monday. Sure, that's what we're all doing Monday morning, right? So again, identify your starting port. So what's that one sort of high volume document or documents that you're constantly sort of using and generating? Pick that. Build your first smart template. Throw it into the AI template creator, right? Have that sort of input your fields. Then we're going to enhance, right? We're changing the text fields into a date or a drop down, right? We're doing bulk inserts. Then again, bundle into document sets. So you're sort of grouping those together. Once you have your questionnaire template, right? You're generating that template, you're seeing all those questions, adding some descriptions, right? The sixth one, the test and refine, right? Again, share that with a coworker, share that with, family or friend, and just get their honest take on what they liked and didn't like, and sort of tweak that stuff so that again, you're optimizing for your client experience. And from there, and hopefully you reap the rewards and benefits of really automating your document production through Clio Draft. So I had a slide for questions, but I feel like y'all have been peppering me throughout, so I really appreciate it. It's really engaging. I want to thank you as well for coming to Boston to be with us. We really, really appreciate it. We love hanging out and chatting with you guys. Thank you.